Welcome everyone! In this video, we are in the Ultra League showcasing another very powerful team featuring Poliwrath. Poliwrath, I think, still very much underutilized in the Ultra League meta. It is quite versatile, quite bulky, quite strong. It will be serving as the lead on this team along with Skuntank. I wanted a pretty neutral safe swap, yet able to put in work as the safe swap if it came down to it. And Skuntank and Poliwrath pair together beautifully. It is a very versatile safe swap on this team. And rounding out the team, we've got Gliscor in the back to protect our Poliwrath lead from grass types, electric types. I also wanted to be ABA strong to steel, so Gliscor made perfect sense in the back. Yeah, guys, a lot of thought went into building this team out, and my goodness, it put in a lot of work. And here we go. You love to see this type of lead if you are the Poliwrath. We've got a Swampert. This is about as good as it gets. Any Pokemon that can force Swampert into having to throw Earthquakes is always going to do quite well against it. They safe swap into a Trevenant, trying to catch a Scald perhaps, but we held on to that energy, knowing that a catch was likely going to be in play for them, or going to be attempted by them, I should say. So we've got just the answer. We go for the crunch, they let that go, cutting the losses, and we do farm down. We've got a little bit of energy, but if this Swampert is smart, it will not allow us to get there, but they likely did not realize that they lose CMP tie. A lot of traders are unsure about the Skuntank matchup, and that is brilliant. We win that CMP tie, and they should just go Hydro Cannon. They do. We survive on a few HP, but that is okay. We got a very clutch defense drop. And because they were really good with their energy management, they are at a potential EQ, but we tank that. We are quite bulky. And they've got a Charizard right on cue. Whenever you see a Swampert, you can bet the house there's a Charizard lurking in the back. We're just going to pressure these shields here with our Scalds and look to catch the Dragon Claw. Reading that they're not going to want to have to give up that final shield or take tons of super effective damage, I was reading that they were going to instantly throw the Dragon Claw, and we were able to catch that onto our Gliscor. And now it is time to put in work on this Charizard. We are still up a shield here. And Gliscor, much like Poliwrath, quite bulky, very similar stat products on these two, both over a 4,000 stat product, which is very, very nice bulk for the Ultra League. We do shield out of caution. You never know if they're just going to YOLO that Blast Burn, but they were looking to bait, and that is okay. Gonna go for a Night Slash here, grabbing that final shield from the Charizard. It would not have KO'd, but it would have been coming close. Reading that they would likely try and catch again, we hold on. Gonna go for the Night Slash just before they can hit us with a Hydro Cannon. That KOs the Swampert, and now it is just about lights out for that Charizard. They realized that they needed more moves than they could get to on that health. Good game, well played to them. Oh, I had a lot of fun, as well as a lot of success with this team. It was absolutely putting in work. When we get these types of leads, holy smokes, we've got a Regirock here, and they make a play into a Tapu Fini. So again, this is why Skuntank and Poliwrath pair together quite well. If you don't have a Skuntank, you can run a Lowland Muck, or you could give Drapion a try if you happen to have one. But we are rolling with Skuntank here. And of course, this thing does hardwall our charge moves, but these poison jabs are absolutely shredding. I did try Trailblaze very early on this season in the Ultra League. I just didn't like it. So we're back on to Flamethrower here. And we do take out that Tapu Fini. Having to give up a shield, I didn't want to get in an awkward health range where they could start shielding and farm us down. So that's okay. We are now at a shield disadvantage, and we've got this Regirock here onto our Skuntank, and they're going to have to throw a move. Gonna go for another crunch here and see what they want to do. Likely let that go, as Regirock about as tanky as it gets. And they do finally throw energy. Should just be a Stone Edge, but it doesn't KO, and this might just allow us to get to another crunch, and we do. I would imagine they're going to go for an aggressive lock-on farm down here, grabbing the shield, Skuntank putting in the work, and this much of a farm makes me nervous. Regirock, much like Registeel, can learn Zap Cannon, so I'm not risking it. I'm coming in with Gliscor as we do hardwall that thing like you wouldn't believe, and they pivot into a Golisopod. So we're not running Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace would be very nice for this matchup, but I think Night Slash is the way to go in this meta. And we are going to let this liquidation go. Like I said, Gliscor, quite bulky. It's a much different story in the Ultra League than it is in the Great League. And we're going to go for another Night Slash. We did grab that final shield. They were likely concerned of a potential super effective Aerial Ace with Stab. So that is very understandable. And right about here, I thought about letting this go, but I realized we can get to another Night Slash. And because I'm concerned about any potential Zap Cannon shenanigans out of that Regi, we elect to shield to take this out and force that Regi to throw. They're not going to be able to farm us down in time. So that was the safest play to avoid any surprise Zap Cannon shenanigans. They're not going to make it to another potential move before we can farm down. So that was the path of least resistance that I identified, and it worked out. Good game, well played to them. Yeah, I recognize that with so many steel types in the meta, having a team that's ABA strong in the steel makes life a lot easier in the Ultra League. For reasons like that, had a Cobalion lead. They safe swap a Giratina. So we can win this if we were determined to, but likewise, a determined Giratina can also flip this mid-game matchup. But Skuntank is our worst matchup into that Cobalion. We are ABA strong into that Cobalion. So whenever you are ABA strong into your opponent's lead Pokemon, you don't have to fight for Switch. We don't need Switch here. We're just going to feel it out and see where their motivations lie here. Gonna go for another crunch on CMP tie here and see what this Giratina wants to do. They shield. So right about here, knowing that we don't need to flip switch, I think we get a little over aggressive. We do shield this. We would have survived that Dragon Claw, but I wanted to put a little bit more pressure onto this Giratina. I intended to let this go, thinking that we would survive long enough to make it to another crunch, but we just don't quite survive by enough health, by enough HP. So a bit of a misplay there. Should have just taken the shield advantage, but that's okay. Again, we can come in with our Gliscor here and look to go for an aggressive farm down. Getting this much of an energy lead on Gliscor can be quite nice because it takes it a little bit of time to get to an Earthquake. So I'm going to see what they're weak in the back to a Gliscor. We're picking up on that. They came back in with a Cobalion, so we're going to look to catch this resisted Stone Edge onto our Poliwrath. Making the plays in the Ultra League, you love to see it, and they're staying in a little bit more here, likely to rebank, so good play by them, and they pivot into a Cresselia, so we're okay here. Gonna go for these Scalds. The win condition now lies with our Gliscor, so we're not gonna shield anything. We do survive a Legacy Grass Knot, and that is what it looks like they are running, as we did trigger the CMP event, but we do get a clutch attack drop, which means that they cannot, or they will have a very difficult time farming down. We will get to multiple moves if they don't throw another move here, so it looks like they are committing to that aggressive farm down. They let us get to another Scald here. It will not quite KO, but it will be putting this Cresselia quite low. If they choose to no shield, we'll now combo play and look to deny them this energy or grab that final shield. Either one is fine with us. They do get give up the final shield, and we get a little overzealous and throw on alignment there, but that is okay. We're still in a very good spot, and we get a very clutch boost. I don't think we needed this boost to finish this game out. We just let this Stone Edge go. It's not going to come anywhere close to KOing us, and go for another resisted Night Slash. It is now boosted, so it will be doing quite a bit more on the bulky Cobalion, and the hope was to farm down in time, which we do just as they're getting to a Sacred Sword. We have the move, we win CMP tie, and that is just about all she wrote against this opponent. We're saying bye-bye to the Cresselia, courtesy of our Gliscor. Coming in clutch, doing its job to perfection, and that is close the game strong. Good game, well played to them. Man, Poliwrath, often overlooked, and I think people are sleeping on it. It is so good in the meta right now. But here we go, another Swampert lead. Again, you love to see it if you're Poliwrath. They safe swap a Charizard. Surprise, surprise. Like I said, guys, if you see that Swampert lead or vice versa, you can bet the house that the other is in the back. This core is all over the place. It is quite obnoxious. But we do successfully grab a shield from the squishy Shadow Charizard here. And we're actually going to call this, I think Skuntank is dispensable or disposable, I should say. So we do successfully call that. Now we will shield the Blast Burn, making all the right calls here and go for a crunch here on this Charizard. I was seeing Skuntank as disposable, but seeing that shield, I think we can just take this thing out. We can go shields down. I'm fine with that. As long as we can control the alignment and get the alignment we want, I'm fine with going shields down. But they don't want to stick around to get farmed down. They pivot back into that Swampert. So going to go for this crunch here. We have loaded energy, and I'm expecting them to try and play to another CMP tie. They love to load up and go for the crunch on CMP tie. They likely don't know the matchup again, and we're saying bye-bye to the annoying Shadow Swampert. What can you expect? They're running Swampert Zard. I don't expect them to know the matchup. They have a G-Weezing in the back, so this is fine. We're not going to make it to that Flamethrower. I think that Fairy Wind is going to KO. Yeah, we would have KO'd just as we were getting to that Flamethrower. So that was the play, and we get a clutch defense drop. And now it is smooth sailing. Making the play for alignment there was absolutely the play. We're going to do quite all right. They hit us with an overheat. We survived that quite nicely. Expecting a pivot. We punched the Zard in the face, and we were going to finish off that Weezing. No problem. That anticipation was on point in that battle. Oh, you'd love to see it. Good game, well played to them. In case you haven't noticed, nothing pleases me more than shutting down the very obnoxious Swampert Charizard core. But here we go. Steelix lead. Again, this is why Poliwrath has tremendous play with all the Steelix trainers running rampant in the Ultra League. It is very dominant for Poliwrath. For very obvious reasons, of course, we've got Counter and Scald to hit this thing with for super effective, but we're going to bait, actually. The Steelix trainers love to shield that Steelix so that they can get off those Breaking Swipe debuffs, and we do successfully bait the Steelix. And we're just going to play out. We're not shielding anything. Like I said, this is about as dominant of a matchup as it gets because we have the bulk as well as being able to hit this thing for consistent, super effective damage. Now we'll go for the Scald. After 2 debuffs, they do let that go, and we farm down, guys. I'm telling you, it's a dominant matchup. We win the 0-1. That is, like I said, have I mentioned that that's a dominant matchup? And they come in with a Cobalion onto our Poliwrath, likely reading that they could get more farm because we've been thoroughly debuffed. So we're actually going to bring Gliscor in onto this Cobalion. Like I said, being ABA strong to steal in this meta, in this economy, never a bad thing. We thought ahead and planned for that. They go for the Stone Edge. That does no damage, and we are just going to continue to put in work on this Cobalion here. Now, because they're staying in, this is a bad matchup for them. I'm going to try and bait, but no. They make a play into a Virizion, so I didn't expect to see Virizion, so we kind of just throw this to get our bearings straight, but I think at the time I was also thinking if I could get a boost, we could stay in and put more work on that, but we just banked another Earthquake, and we make the play into Skuntank. Gonna play it safe here. This is a pretty good matchup for Skuntank, especially with a shield advantage, health advantage. We're gonna do quite all right here. And this is where Flamethrower, the conventional Flamethrower, really comes in clutch, allows you to say bye-bye to Virizion. You don't get to do that with Trailblaze, and yeah, we're in cruise control, in the driver's seat. This is just about over. We go for the resisted crunch on CMP tie. It should be enough to take out the Cobalion. Yeah, they waved the white flag. It was not trending in the right direction, and Skuntank takes that one in the end. Good game, well played to them. Always a fun time when you can run Poliwrath and Gliscor on the same team. 2 very good Pokemon for the meta. But here we go, Dragonite lead. Whenever you see this, you can bet the house that there's a jellicent and some sort of steel type in the back. There's the jellicent right on cue. We were ready for this, and we've got the Skuntank here. On to the jellicent. Another reason why Skuntank is on the team. It does quite well against 2 water types that Poliwrath really doesn't like to see. That being jellicent, which we see here, as well as Tapu Fini in the meta. I'm thoroughly reading that there is some sort of steel in the back. Classically, it's Regi or Cobalion. Could be an Alolan Sandslash as well. Alolan Sandslash is one that Gliscor doesn't particularly like, but It's generally Reggie or Cobalion, and we're going to do quite all right here if our team read is accurate. But I have no reason to believe that it isn't, which is why we were okay to give up that shield there, just to load up a little bit more on energy. And not expecting a shield, they usually want to take the shield advantage for their Dragonite. Now, we are very close to a move, and that could force the Dragonite to dump the energy. That is fantastic. That's what we were hoping for. Either to do damage, get a shield, or get them to dump energy. We bring back in our loaded Poliwrath, and they've got a Tapu Fini in the back. Holy smokes, that was not what I was expecting to see. And that really changes things quite a bit, if you can imagine. Holy smokes. They have a Tapu Fini in the back. I was expecting Steel. You're not supposed to have a Tapu Fini in the back. Oh, this is essentially over. This is over. They had an awkward core breaker in the back. And yeah, we just let that go. Gliscor is not going to be able to do a whole lot here. Yeah, we just let this go, and I think we sort of silently conceded the match there, and we're not even going to bother throwing a move, just let them farm us down, yeah. Awkward Tapu Fini core breaker in the back was not what we were expecting. They should have had Steel, that's what they were supposed to have, but good game, well played to them. All of the moving parts on this Poliwrath team complement each other beautifully. It's the perfect team for the current meta right now. But here we go. Golisopod, not a good lead. That's why we have these two Pokemon in the back to support Poliwrath up against potential Golisopods as well. They can throw a liquidation, that's fine. We do survive that quite comfortably, but we get a very unlucky defense drop. That's okay. Gonna go for a crunch and hope for a defense drop of our own here up against this Golisopod. No such luck there, but they're staying in here. So that's very interesting to see. We are resisting this fast move pressure, and I'm thinking they're gonna try and bait, get an early shield advantage. They do. We called the bait successfully and gonna look to go for a crunch and either grab a shield or take out the Golisopod. They just play out the zeros, let it go, and that is brilliant. But they've got a Skeledirge in the back, so with full Incinerate and energy advantage, I don't want to bring in Poliwrath because it's likely that they are running Disarming Voice and they double resist our fast move pressure. So we're gonna let this Shadow Ball go. And they've got a Powder Snow A9 in the back, so it's a good thing we did bring in the Gliscor onto the Skeledirge. Gonna bring in Poliwrath here to put in work on this Powder Snow A9. It is much better, as you can imagine, than a Charm A9 for sure, as we are resisting the fast move pressure, and they take neutral damage from our counters. And these Scalds hit pretty hard. They have Stab, and they do let that go. No attack drop, but that is okay. We did successfully call a Weather Ball bait. Now we will shield because we are in Dazzling Gleam range, and this thing is still a little too healthy for our Gliscor to farm down, but we don't want to have to give up another shield. We bait with the Ice Punch, grabbing a shield from them, and this could be the Dazzling Gleam, but we're absolutely fine to let this go. One wing attack should just about take this thing out. It does have to take a Powder Snow in the process, but we are well ahead on energy here on the Skeledirge. I think the LoseCon is going for a massive EQ and having them shield it. They let that go, and that is okay. We're throwing with proper timing. If you run a 2-turn up against a 5-turn, you'll want to be throwing on 2 or 7. So we're throwing with proper timing. That is absolutely crucial to not allow them to get through a full Incinerate. And we're able to make it to the 3 Night Slashes in time. We're saying bye-bye to the Flaming Crocodile. And because of proper timing, Gliscor takes that out with surgical precision, I might add. Good game, well played to them. So as you can see, this team absolutely puts in the work. It absolutely gets my seal of approval. But here we go. Buzzwole lead. Not a great lead for Poliwrath, although they are forced to go superpower in that matchup. But we safe swap into our Skuntank, and we draw out a Greedent. So this is okay. Greedent can edge this out. It's just bulkier, spammier, and these mud shots do hit us for super effective. But we do get a very clutch defense drop, which is quite nice. Never a bad thing for us. And want to put in a little bit more work on this Greedent. Not sure what they could have lurking in the back, so we will shield up one of these body slams here and see if they'll take a shield advantage. We showed them that we're willing to shield. Maybe they'll want to take that shield advantage for their Buzzwole, but no, they want to shield and control the alignment. I'm not sure what they have in the back, so we will shield this and then bank the energy, pivot back into Poliwrath. They're fighting us pretty hard. They want to control alignment. Might as well rip off the band-aid. This thing has to go superpower anyways to do any meaningful damage to us. And that is exactly what they do, as they did bank quite a bit of energy before swapping out. Now, I don't want to win this. I want this thing to be healthy enough because I intend to come in with Gliscor and get an aggressive farm down here. So we go Ice Punch, not wanting to do too much damage, but they shield anyways, which is fantastic. The second superpower doesn't KO, but the energy that they get from that farm will not matter because we're farming down to Funky Town with double super effective wing attacks. We have a nice energy lead here. Going to be interesting to see what they have in the back. They're thinking. They come back in with the low health Greedent. Makes me wonder what they could have in the back. I have no idea, but I do know that we comfortably tank these body slams, no problem. I don't really want to tank another, so we'll just overload a little bit and go for this Night Slash. Take out the Greedent. Now let's see what's hiding in the back. It's a Dubwole, so this is fantastic for us. We're going to throw this Earthquake, go straight EQ in this matchup. I don't think they'll be able to hit us with or get to enough body slams to take out both Gliscor and our Skuntank, which is very close to a crunch. So this is looking pretty good for us. We're just going to look to go for another EQ. Take this thing out pretty cleanly. Night Slash not going to do the trick, but Earthquake with Stab will. We're saying bye-bye to the Dubwole. And Gliscor coming in clutch yet again as the closer, closing the game in dominant fashion. You'll love to see it. That's the team, my friends. Good game, well played to the opponent. And again, I knew I wanted to run Poliwrath. I've run Poliwrath with Skuntank in the past in a different team configuration. In the past, I led Skuntank, had Poliwrath safe swap, and I had Greninja in the back. So knowing that those two paired very well together, I knew that it made sense because I knew that I wanted to run a Poliwrath lead, and I know Skuntank with that dark poison typing can be pretty good on the safe swap. Not too many weaknesses to be concerned with. And I wanted to round out the team with another Pokemon that was also strong into Steel, knowing how much Steel we have in the meta right now. So landed on Gliscor. It made perfect sense. Poliwrath on the lead covers the ice type weakness that Gliscor has. Gliscor can cover the bug types, has that dark coverage for Cresselia, Giratina. It just made perfect sense. And as we saw in this video, the team as a whole puts in a ton of work. That's a recipe for a lot of success as well as a lot of fun in the Ultra League. But guys, I had a blast. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, I thank you for watching and keep up the grind. Thank you, guys.